and welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk podcast. My name is Commissioner Whitaker-Moore. It has been a minute since we've been in the place. Amen. On the couch. Today I am joined by my big little brother, Ron, aka Bo.
How y'all doing? How's everybody doing?
We are definitely missing Cam on this episode. He is out of the country doing what he loves to do. So we're definitely proud of him, happy for him, but definitely missing him in this episode and a few more actually that we're going to be doing. Today we're going to be talking about paying bills in a grown up way. Basically, does paying the bills automatically give a man leadership role in the relationship? Yes or no? We're gonna talk about that. Do a little spinoff of what we talked about. Came up with that one, and we're gonna see what we got going on. Hopefully, you guys enjoy. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, do all the things that you need to do. Be a part of our conversation. Okay. Okay. All right, Bo. So paying the bills, all the bills. Does that automatically give a man a leadership role in the relationship, or is leadership earned? What say you?
What say me
Yes,
is
sir.
I would say that the leadership role, by the man for the man is an automatic. Well, not automatically. It does have to be earned,
Mm-hmm.
but it's earned before the relationship. I would say,
Okay.
right?
Why you say that?
Because before two people can come together, they have to have an understanding. They have to have an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Either are we partners?
Mm-hmm.
Am I your boss?
Mhm.
Or are you my employee? All of these things have to be understood before even coming to that agreement.
Okay.
I feel.
Okay.
I feel like when people go into relationships and they don't have an understanding of what it is what my role is, what your role is,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when that's when it's mixed up. That's when we have the problems that we should have probably settled before we had the relationship.
Okay.
Because now dominance, I mean, you're just not dominant. A male is dominant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Supposed to be.
supposedly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that the man is dominant and the woman is the recipient of that dominance.
Uh-huh.
Those roles have to be understood
Mm-hmm.
and they have to be agreed upon. The terms and agreements of this relationship have to be signed by both parties.
Okay.
Because if not, then roles are crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Someone may feel like they overstepped their boundary.
Mm-hmm.
The other person may not. But like I said, with the understanding prior to this, the roles are easier to play because we understand each other. We bounce off of each other.
Okay.
And that's the way I feel about that.
Okay.
Obviously.
So if we're in a relationship, and we're just talking a relationship, we're not talking a marriage at this point, right? We're talking about in a relationship, we're courting, we're doing all the things. And then honestly, we already know if we go by biblically, then we're living together. Therefore, we are married at this point, right? So we start a relationship. We start like he's paying for this, he pays for that, he pays for all the things. We go, we're good, we're whatever, right? This is the understanding that we have. So now we're in this marriage, right? And then all of a sudden, the roles change in the marriage. Maybe the husband lost a job. Maybe the husband quit the job, and then all of a sudden, I'm the one who has all of that responsibility on my plate. I'm paying all the bills. I'm paying the mortgage. I'm paying the light bill, the water bill, the gas bill, the electricity. I'm paying all of the things while you're sitting there and you're just kind of chilling, what have you, or you're looking for a job. So with that being said, I'm paying the bills.
Right.
Am I the boss?
In that predicament, you could very well be the boss.
Okay.
But for all other purposes, I would say that being the boss, being the dominant figure, doesn't necessarily depend on finances for me.
Right. For some, it does.
For some people it do, with other people it doesn't. Because when I think of a relationship, when I think of a marriage, a union, I feel like that not necessarily that you're everything that I'm not, but everything, if I need help with this, that you are you're my nurturer and I'm your strength. So we bounce off of each other. So to me, that's what that's where the term partners come in at, because we're helpers one to another.
Right.
But if in other relationships, if I'm paying all the bills and you're not doing this, and you're not, as a man, being a leader, which doesn't mean the finances, just a leader. If you're not doing that, then to me, you're yielding your role. And if you're yielding your role, then somebody got to pick it up.
Right.
And that's, to me, how these roles get crossed up, because people don't want to be responsible or take that accountability for their role in the relationship.
Okay. I totally understand that. So say, for instance, I'm a wife, right? I don't work. I don't pay bills. You pay, and I'm married. My husband pays all the bills. He pays the mortgage. He does all the things, and I'm a housewife. I don't do anything. And everything that happens in that house is because of my husband, right? The clothes that I have, all the things, all the nice things, the fine things, all of those things are solely coming from my husband. Now, the Bible says that we should be submissive to our husbands, correct? So I sometimes feel that being submissive in a household to a husband biblically sometimes gets twisted with financial situations, because you do this, you want me to be submissive to you. I understand that. But I also understand that if we're doing that from the Bible standpoint, then you have to make sure that we're in the right frame, or we're doing what we're supposed to do. Because honestly, if that's the case, then why do we sometimes get this confused? Why do we sometimes think that if I'm doing this and I'm purchasing this and I'm buying this and I'm buying this, then you have the right to put your hands on me? Or, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, hey, listen, I understand what the word says, but I also want you to understand, we need to make sure that we get that understanding in the home. So I'm like, so because you pay the bills, does that mean that you're my boss? Because you pay the bills, that means that you get to make all decisions in the home. Because you pay the bills, that means I have to be submissive to you. And we ain't nowhere near a biblical type situation. We don't even pick up a Bible. And if we do pick up that Bible, there's dust all the way around it, because you could tell where it's been gone. So how do you tell me that I need to be submissive to you when you don't even read, or you're not even leading me down a path to godliness or righteousness? Because I feel like sometimes we get that confused. We want to throw that part out so easily, like, you're supposed to be submissive to me, but in what terms?
Right.
So explain that to me.
Okay. I feel like the term, even being submissive to your husbands, that, to submit, to be with another person, to be with them, that's not saying that I'm your boss.
Right.
Because say you are a housewife and I am making all the money, I'm paying the bills. Who's taking care of the house?
Right.
Who's making the meals?
Right.
Who's washing the clothes? Who's doing that? That's why I said we have to understand our roles as men and women. Just because I pay for everything don't mean I'm your boss. If we are husband and wife, then we're a union. And how can you be a boss? Of course, you know how people use the term self-made. When you come into a union with a person, you're no longer two individuals. You're one union. You're one person. So the only time a person can be their own boss is if they are completely self-sufficient, right? If you're a boss. But if you're in a partnership with someone, then y'all come together. A lot of people, I think, the term is being loosely used.
For sure.
When they're being like, okay, you got to submit to me because the Bible say this.
Yeah.
Or you got to do this because the Bible says this. But we take a lot of terms from the Bible and we stop right in the middle of it.
We don't even get to the meat of the conversation or what the word actually is saying. But because this is where it started, this is all you want to pick up. But if you continue to read, you would understand. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think that as a society, we get this twisted. And I feel like, I don't know, and I could be wrong. It's more so the older generation than the newer generation, because this is what they knew. This is what they were taught, all the things. But if I'm out here being Superwoman and I'm carrying all of the weight, and you ain't trying to lead me nowhere but down a path of darkness and taking all my money and I'm paying the bills and you want to drop me off at work,
Yeah.
don't use that word to me.
You're not giving me anything to submit to.
For real.
Leaders,
Mm-hmm.
the leaders, and then what makes the leader are all of the people. Like in a company,
Mm-hmm.
there's a CEO, but the company don't go nowhere if you ain't got no workers.
Right.
If you don't have a supporting cast.
Right.
So for a man and a woman, when they're in a union,
Mm-hmm.
the woman and the man, I mean, we're supporting cast. We're helping each other.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't give me the leadership to follow, then I can't submit to a non-leader.
Right.
I can't submit to a follower, because if I follow a follower that's
messed
following
up.
somebody else,
Yeah, we all jacked up.
then what direction are we going in? How can the blind lead the blind and expect to get to the point you want to be at?
True.
There's guidance, and I think with that union,
Mm-hmm.
we talk and we understand each other's roles.
Mm-hmm.
We understand each other's love language. It's important for you to know mine and for me to know yours, and for you to love me in my love language,
Right.
and for me to love you in yours.
Right.
Not just me loving you the way I know how to love, but when you become in a union with someone else, you learn the things about them and the way that they want to be treated, the way that they want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
You take that in consideration as if it was you yourself, because you're a union now.
Right.
You're together. You're as one. So with that being said, you don't treat them how you don't want nobody to treat you. So if I'm talking down at you
mm-hmm.
because you're supposed to submit to me, how am I making you feel? Am I making you feel how I want to feel?
Right.
We all help us one to another.
This is true.
So if you're talking at me instead of talking to me or with me, then that's a breach right there. Because we're supposed to understand each other. We're supposed to learn each other. We're supposed to do all these things together to be greater.
Mm-hmm.
I heard somebody say that when in a union, when in a marriage, 1 + 1 it don't equal 2. It's supposed to equal 3, because when you add together with somebody, it's supposed to be able to multiply it.
Mm-hmm.
You multiply. When a husband and wife, they get ready to have a child or whatever, they're being fruitful and they multiply.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can't come together and multiply, then we still subtracting from each other's life.
We are. We're definitely subtracting from each other's life. I think that I feel as if sometimes in relationships we get things totally confused. We hear one thing, just like for instance, being in the church, right? We are taught what they were taught, right? So they taught us what they were taught, and then we teach people what we were taught. Now, sometimes, like back in the day, of course, we were when we were taught, when we were in Koji, we were raised in Koji, we were taught that wearing pants were wrong, right? And so then somewhere it was like, wait a minute, it's not. That's not going to keep you. That's not going to take you. That's not going to do whatever. So, I think that sometimes we teach people what we were taught, and we're not really like looking and reading and studying different things in order to make things a little bit better or to understand.
Right.
Because sometimes people don't want to do the homework. We just want to, quote what somebody else said. And what somebody else then quoted, sometimes it may not be right, or it may not fit my relationship.
Exactly.
And so with that being said, I think we get confused behind the word being submissive, and then honestly working together as partners. And so we take different things out of the Bible, and we kind of manipulate those, twist it, do all the things in order to fit us in what we want it to be or say, if that makes sense. And so instead of us actually reading it, understanding it, and doing what we're supposed to do. So I think that sometimes in the older generation, and even sometimes in this newer generation too that I've seen, because you pay my water bill and you pay one bill, I pay 3. You think I'm supposed to be, you think you have control over me. You can tell me to do this, tell me to do this, and tell me to do that. I think that being, if this is how we're going to do it, then let's have a conversation and let's just talk about that thing. Because what you can't do, like I said before, is lead me down this road, and neither one of us are doing what we should be doing, and then all of a sudden I got to be submissive to someone that I'm taking care of.
Right. Being submissive in the name of tradition.
Right.
That's
And
what
right.
gets it.
Absolutely. And then I have a hard time with that because honestly, I feel like if I have to take my cape off and give it to you, and you want me to calm down on that superwoman role, and then I give you my cape, but then in the next 30 seconds you're giving it right back, what am I supposed to think?
You're supposed to think you have a sidekick. Like,
I get
like
that.
Batman and Robin.
I understand that.
You have a Robin.
But you tell me, hey, take the cape off. Let me handle this. Let me be the man that I need to be for you. And I'm not saying for me, but I'm just saying just out
General,
here. Yes, out here looking, because sometimes as a woman, you do want a husband that can come in and be like, hey, let me help you. Let me do this. And vice versa. I know that there are men out there that's like, hey, listen, I just need somebody like to help me. Whatever the case may be, let's just join hands and let's just be together. Let's do all these things together. Let's make decisions together, all these things. But when you ask me to give you, let me help you, let me do this because I want to be the man that you need me to be or whatever the case may be, or the man that I need to be for you or whatnot. But then once I give you my cape and then I'm giving you this and so that I can tackle this, but then I'm tackling this, and then I got to come back and put that cape right back on my back and strap it around my neck because you can't handle it.
Right.
Dude, I just don't even know what to say.
Right. And
with those types of situations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So you kind of get confused. You don't get confused, but you're double. You're like, why am I doing this when you're out here doing this? Now, then your mind get to wondering and you're like, listen here, there has got to be something better than this. But then you also know, what the Bible says, because this is what you hear. Well, where does this stop and where does this start?
Right.
And this is where a lot of people are. Because if I have to take my cape off on a Monday, but then you give it back to me Monday night, I'm not taking it off again.
Right.
Because I'm not going to go through all of those things and then end up right back in the same situation that I was in because this is what you can't do.
Right.
That's kind of crazy.
And this is a distinction I think that a lot of people are confused by. Because you have certain things on your body, I should say, that makes you a male. It's a very distinct difference between a female and a male, a girl and a boy, a man and a woman. So in today's society that we're living in, we're not seeing a lot of men and women.
Right.
A very distinction between the boy and the girl.
Right.
There's a maturity level there that changes from a male to be a man. A lot of times we're never making it there. Some of our men are never making it there. Some of our women are never making it there. So then you have a society of boys and girls
out here trying to be grown.
Because
we have grown ages, but our mentality is not where it needs to be.
Exactly.
And that is a dangerous place to be because we're out here doing grown men and women things, but our mentality is like teenage or whatever the case may be. And we're making mistakes the whole entire way through. Now, I'm a strong believer in, you learn as you go.
Yeah.
And I get that, but sometimes it's just not what it needs to be. It ain't cutting it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And this is how we get in trouble because we're thinking because you pay my bills or because you buy me this that you love me. Or then I let you pay my bills and I let you buy me this, but then I get a left or a right to the left eye. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And then that's okay because this is how I know that you love me because you still pay my bills. And I think that with that mentality, we're not thinking in our grownness. You know what I'm saying? We ain't really woke because this is what we got going on.
Exactly.
And that's another thing that, that really troubles me or really makes me think hey, why do we feel this way? Why do we think that? And this is off topic, but
Mhm.
why do we think because someone pays our bills, someone buys us a set of nails or get our feet done, but then you can punch me in my mouth that you really love me, or you
Mhm.
can downright me in front of your friends, but you really care for me,
Yeah.
and we accept that and we put up with that and we tolerate that. And that's even on the male side too,
Mhm.
because there's women out here that would do the same thing.
There's a misunderstanding. I feel like
Is it a really misunderstanding though?
I do. I
Okay.
believe that it's a misunderstanding because people are not getting to know each other.
Mhm.
The rush process,
Mhm.
the microwave process, the instant process, instead of doing the homework like we were saying earlier. People want the reward, but you don't want to do the studying.
Right.
You don't want to get down to the gritty and say, well, you know what? This is who I am.
Mm.
I'm putting this on the table. This is who you are. You put that on the table. And when it's both on the table, then we put it together and sort it out. How we can be the best be the best people for each other. Because if I'm constantly battling something and you're constantly battling something, but we're supposed to be a union, you're supposed to help me when you see me hurt. And I'm
Right.
supposed to help you when I see you hurt. Partners do that. Um, Bosses, you ever notice between the boss and an employee?
Oh yeah, sometimes.
The boss don't the employees sometimes they scared to talk to the bosses.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want to understand how to do something, but they too afraid to talk to the boss.
Mhm.
Sometimes the bosses disregard their employees. If they listen to them better, if they listen to them more, these are the people that's doing the footwork.
Right.
And you can get a better understanding. So with this union, we're supposed to be in the business of learning each other
Mhm.
because first that's setting the foundation. If we're not learning each other and trying to be better for each other,
Mhm.
then where do we expect for this to go? If I'm not constantly pouring into you and you're not constantly pouring into me,
Mhm.
then somebody giving and somebody taking.
Right.
But if we're doing it both, then there's a mutual partnership in this union because at the end of the day, we're here for each other to make it better on each other.
Right.
If I only make your life better, what is my role? I've heard this so many times. A happy wife, happy
Happy life.
life.
Yeah.
But what about the husband?
True.
But what about that man that's trying to make your life better than it was?
Right.
Does he not deserve to be happy too?
Yes.
There's one
For
thing I
sure.
was looking at, and I thought about it. And if I'm wrong, then God help me. But I don't personally think, as a husband and a wife, it's my responsibility to even make you happy.
Really.
I feel like
Mhm.
you should be happy
Mhm.
first and foremost with yourself within.
Mhm.
And then I should be happy with myself within. And we multiply that happiness. And when we see it's lacking somewhere, then we fill in that void,
Mhm.
which whoever role it is. If you're feeling down, I'm here to help you. When I'm feeling down, you're here to help me.
But that not the same thing as making someone happy though?
Uh, no, I mean, I don't feel like it. I feel like it's helping.
Got you.
The idea of my life is to make you happy. That's the misconception.
Right.
That's what I
I
mean. If
totally
I if
understand
I
that.
if I
Right.
said the wrong thing.
Right. I've heard people say, it's my job to make my wife happy.
Mhm.
And I think that we say that and we're not really realizing what it is that we're saying.
Mhm.
But I agree and I disagree. I
Mhm.
think that I'm definitely supposed to be happy within. You're supposed to be happy within.
Mhm.
But what if I'm not happy within? What if I'm one of those people that is deemed as damaged goods because
Mhm.
I really don't know what true love is,
Mhm.
and I really don't know how to act in the way or the way that the
Mhm.
society tells me, because all I've known is heartache.
Mhm.
All I've known is this. All I've known is cheaters. All I've known is this, that, and the third. And then I get with you
Mhm.
because you are truly in love with me
Mhm.
and you want me to be happy. So therefore, I'm learning from you, or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. So I agree, but then I disagree because sometimes in different situations,
Mhm.
there are people who just don't know what true love or happiness is
Mhm.
because they've been dealt a really bad deal. You know
Right.
what I mean? And all they know is heartache and pain and cheating and different things like that. So they have to get to a place
Mhm.
find something to love or about themselves. And once they do, then I get that. But I feel like sometimes you can have a little bit of both, or if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And I mean, I understand that there are individuals who been dealt a bad hand and that's all that they know. If I'm dealing with someone that's all that they know, my role as getting to know you and we knowing each other better is my job to learn you.
Right.
And as I'm learning you, I learn the things that make you smile so you don't cry.
So that's still making me happy.
I know, but look at this though. This is the difference. I'm speaking on being in a union and my job to make you happy versus prior to that union. Say the relationship, then the marriage. So I'm in the relationship, I'm learning you. You're learning me so that we're getting that understanding of each other. We're showing each other our true selves.
Or foundation.
Yeah.
Right.
Building a foundation that we can both stand on together. And then
we keep it up.
We keep it up. And then as we have this union, by the time we have this union, however long it takes, I know you. You know me. So I know what I'm dealing with.
Right.
You know what you're dealing with. But we've already made it our responsibilities. We've made it our responsibilities before the union that I want you to be better. You want me to be better.
Right.
So if that costs me sometimes me having a sleepless night because I'm listening to you, I've learned that before we got into this union. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I'm your supporting cast. I'm your partner. So now I'm swooping in. Honestly, I don't truly believe that one person should just have the cape in the relationship. I believe we should both have it and share this responsibility,
we should.
this accountability.
We should.
For each other. And when we don't, then maybe we skipped a step or maybe we went too fast, or sometimes let's just bag all the way up and be like, you know what? I feel like this about this. You feel this about this. If we can't have a conversation without arguing, then what are we really learning?
I learned this years ago in nursing school. There was one instructor, she would always tell us, she would say, if you feel a certain way about something, never go into the conversation, you should. You should always start the conversation with I feel or I think, because these are our thoughts. This is our feelings. Right. The person may not even think about it. They may not even see it, feel it, or even thought about it. But if you go into it with I think or I feel, then that should lead to a better conversation, right?
Right.
Sometimes it does.
Yes.
Sometimes it does not work, but sometimes it does work because you want someone to hear you out, because you want to really kind of get it, I'm saying, let's have this conversation. Let's just talk through it, because instead of arguing all the time, or you should, you better, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, and all of these things, sometimes we got to change up the language a little bit in our tone to make sure that we are on or kind of doing what we're supposed to do. I just think that society tells us a little bit different, and we have to figure out what we're doing on our own. And I can't look at you in your marriage or relationship and try to compare mine to yours.
Right.
Because number one, what we don't see is all of that damage that was done in the beginning. All we know is the right now, and y'all done been through all kind of chaos at a certain point. So by me trying to compare myself to somebody else's relationship or whatever the case may be, I'm doing myself a disjustice. Right. I can't do that. We can't do that, because we're different people. And I don't know all, I don't know all the damage y'all done went through and come out on top. Right. It takes years it don't take years, but it takes a while to get this thing down. So you just got to really realize that. And I think we started out with the bills. You know what I mean?
Right,
so,
we did start with the bills.
Just because you pay my bills does not mean that you control me.
Right, exactly.
If you're going to lead me right.
You hear me?
Open up that Bible and pray. You understand?
And to me, I think, my opinion, I feel like that we've as a society, we've got away from that.
Right.
Because you can't sit up here and tell me the Bible say this and the Bible say this, but
your life is trash.
You hear me? when you wake up in the morning, do you thank God first?
For real, you
When you
hear
eat your
me?
food, do y'all pray together? Do you talk to God about your partner like you would yourself?
For real, because the
That's what I'm
first thing
saying.
I hear is you waking up in the morning, you cussing folks out. I mean, how does that
Where's
work?
God at?
For real.
Imagine God outside looking outside in the window, said, "Up, not going in there." I mean, I'm just saying we can imagine these things. It's just that I feel like as a complete society that we've, as a whole, got away from God so long or so far to where like I'm looking back there. Okay, I see God, and that's okay. Submit. Okay, that's all
Okay.
I took.
You said what now? What'd you say?
Huh?
Yes, for
The
real.
distance is so far
Yeah.
between, like if you wail over there and you trying to tell me something, I might misconstrue everything you said
True.
because I didn't get a vivid picture. I didn't get a clear enough
Right.
understanding of what it is that you're saying.
True.
And I just think as a society, we have to get back on our knees.
We do.
We have to get back to talking to God, to praying to God about these certain circumstances, um, these different people, our families. Like, if we can get back as a society to pray to God about our partner like we pray about ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
that's the unselfishness in it.
Right.
And I believe that God, he hears us anyway. But those prayers, I believe they are so effective
Yeah.
because you're putting someone else before you.
That's true.
And God sees that. And he blessed the whole multitude because at the end of the day, we all seeking God to get closer to God and to have our relationship so that it's pleasing to him.
Right.
Because
And
if
if
not,
you're right, because if that's the case and if that's what you're doing,
Mhm.
everything else is gonna fall into place. I think that I don't think I know, you know, having, like you said, kind of piggybacking off of that, having a relationship with God, and letting God be the center of
Mhm.
your marriage. And then, you know what I'm saying, everything kind of falls in line. I think we've gotten away from that so much so to where people don't even pray together anymore. The husband and wives, they don't pray with each other. You know, it's just like I go to bed, you go to bed. We don't read our scriptures together anymore because honestly, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I
Right.
am saying that's something that I like because
Mhm.
honestly, it makes your relationship with God, number one, stronger,
Mhm.
and then it makes your relationship with your spouse stronger too because these are things that you're doing together.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if this is where you started, this is exactly where you need to stay. But
Right.
if you haven't started, I feel like you need to start doing
Mhm.
that. And God he's gonna work things out. But if it's something that you're not interested in and you go and do what you need to do and y'all okay, then that's fine too. And that's fine. But I know me.
Mhm.
If I started this way, this is how I want to continue it. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because I
Exactly.
feel like if my relationship with God is strong, then my relationship with my husband, my marriage, my family, all of that's going to fall into place. All of that's going to fall into line. And then we're going to be really good to go.
Right.
That's just me. And I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. And everybody got
Exactly.
one.
They do have an opinion. And I do feel like that being like, if God is the center of your relationship, and see, God is the source of love. First of all, how are you expected to even be in a relationship where there is love if the source ain't there?
Yeah.
How do I go into a relationship without God? Or I say without God, because that's the source for me.
Hmm.
But whatever your source is,
Yeah. That's true.
whatever your source is, if it's giving you strength to make you better, then hey, whoop-de-doo. But God,
For real. I
you
totally
know?
get that. I totally get that. Well, I know we're at the end of our podcast and we always leave with positive. Jesus. We
Hmm.
always leave with a positive. And today we're going to do just that, even though we hadn't been, as they say in the basketball word, in the lab. We hadn't been in the lab in a minute
Mhm.
because we have not been here. Let's just leave with a positive on today. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to tell somebody, even if it's not about these bills,
Mhm.
whatever the case may be, relationships, whatever. I'm gonna go first this time because I go last, and I always kind of mirror different things. But
Mhm.
I would like to say to anyone out there, We're talking about the bills and being submissive and kind of wrapping everything into one, like a little enchilada, taco, whatever you want to call it. But if I'm being honest with you all, the most important thing today for me to give to you all is number one, having a really good relationship with God. That's reading, that's praying, and getting a good understanding of his word. Now, doing that by yourself is absolutely amazing. But doing that with your partner or your husband, your wife, that's even better because the tighter the relationship is with God, the better your marriage is going to be, the better your family is going to be, the better overall all things are going to be because God's going to definitely bless um all of that. He's going to bless the reading, the understanding, the hearing, all of it with his word. So if you guys do that, honestly, it's going to be a better situation for all you, for everybody, for everybody. I feel like I hadn't been here so long. I'm getting tongue tied, but it's going to be a better situation. And I feel like this is something that needs to happen. This is something that we used to do. These are things that we need to get back to. Now, if you're okay in the place that you're in, hey, don't even listen to what I got to say over here. I'm just talking for the ones that want to extra hold on to what God has for us in our marriage, in our homes, in our relationships. And that's my positive on today. What about you, Bo?
My positive on today is first and foremost, let God be the center of your relationship. Secondly, women, men, listen to your partner. Listen to them when they want to talk to you, when they want to confide in you about the way that they feel, how their day's been going. Don't take that trust of him being vulnerable or her being vulnerable and push that back in their faces because you may never get the same person again. So, y'all, as a whole, show love, be about love, let the love be multiplied. Listen to each other.
Totally
And that
agree.
is my part.
I totally agree. Because if you ever destroy that trust, sometimes you will not get that same person.
Mm.
Sometimes you get somebody that you don't even like. And
Don't
that is the
recognize
honest to
them.
God's truth for
Right.
sure. So anyway, thank you all for joining us today. We definitely appreciate you joining another episode of the Let's Talk podcast. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe it out, tell everyone you know. We're definitely trying to grow our family on this side of the hill. And until the next one, guys. Peace.